Hi, Tim Nesmith from the USS KIDD Veterans Museum, Ship Superintendent, and we are on the road today. We are aboard Battleship Alabama, BB-60, located in Mobile, Alabama, and Mobile Bay. That's why you hear so much wind in the shot. We're here for a very specific reason. We're talking about Fletcher-class destroyers today on the Alabama, and the reason we're here is because in 1942-43, the USS Halford, the USS Pringle, and the USS Stevens, three Fletcher-class destroyers, were modified with an aircraft catapult and a Kingfisher scout plane. And it was a weird experiment. They were going to do 6 of them, and the results of it were just not that great. And as a result, they canceled the program. They refitted the ships and ripped all that stuff off. But it's an interesting side note to the Fletcher-class story, and we came to the Alabama to basically learn about these catapults. And we're here with...
I'm Matt McClooney. I'm the Associate Curator for Operations, Battleship Memorial Park.
Matt, you guys have a catapult on Bama. Bama would have had one back then.
She would have had 2.
She would have had 2. Okay, very good. And you have 1 now.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about your catapult, please.
Well, we had 2 catapults, and then during our mothball time in Bremerton, they were both removed. I believe the belief at the time was that we would no longer be using float planes, we would use helicopters, and so even in mothballs, they removed all the catapults. So how did we get a catapult?
Yes.
As my understanding that this is the catapult off a cruiser, and you will notice that it is a little long, as that 40 millimeter cannot traverse.
And that 40 was here during the war.
It was here during the war.
So yeah, your catapult would have been a little bit shorter.
Would have been shorter.
But your mounting is still in the proper location.
Yes, we're still mounted on the turntable.
Okay. All right. And how did the catapult work?
That's actually interesting. Everyone hears catapult and they think about the carriers and they say, oh, it works off steam, and we are a steam ship. We had a lot of steam. However, the catapults actually worked off of a kind of a short 5-inch 38 piece of brass.
Right.
And so you were literally shot off the ship like a gun.
By black powder.
By black powder.
Wow. A 5-inch 38. Well, you had plenty of those on board.
We
so
did.
These were short rounds, though.
These are specific rounds, and funny enough, these were located right next to bomb storage, which is down deep in the ship inside the armored citadel.
Okay. So that would have been the case for the Fletcher catapults as well, is a powder charge throwing the plane off.
Yes.
And do I understand correctly, let's say a Kingfisher is sitting on here, or any type of float plane sitting on here, it's kind of locked into place, and just like the jets today, they start revving their engines up, getting it to full speed, and then somebody gives a signal, either the plane or the guys on the deck, and then the catapult is fired and it throws it?
Correct.
Okay.
And the reason this works so great with a Kingfisher is because the launch speed is only about 55.5 miles an hour.
Right, I read something like 60 knots, something like that.
Yeah. So It didn't take a lot of speed to get enough lift to get a Kingfisher in the air.
Okay. And of course, they're going to pivot this to where it's pointing out over the water.
Yes.
Did they have to do anything else special, speed-wise, or anything for launching? Did they have to get to a certain speed like the carriers do today?
No. In fact, I've actually seen a Kingfisher launched off this ship, well, not this catapult, but this low position.
Right.
And it was perpendicular to the beam.
Directly out.
Directly out.
Wow. So no getting the wind flowing going into the wind.
It wasn't necessary.
Okay. I guess maybe that's something for the jets because they're heavier, maybe.
Yeah. Well, you know, the lift, the speed to get lift on a jet is a lot more, even on something like a Tomcat or something like that. So.
Than a pontoon plane.
Right.
Right. Okay. Now, we have a model in our museum of the USS New Orleans with the old biplanes on it and everything. And I learned from one of the veterans that to land, the ship gets involved and creates a calm space for them. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So the Alabama or any ship would make a wide turn, which essentially smooths out the water, that allows the Kingfisher to then make a smooth landing, or any plane you're using. and they would let out essentially like a net or what would look like a blanket. Then there's a hook on the front of the Kingfisher's pontoon, and it would ride up on that. So now it's attached to the ship, but to get it back on the ship, we would use the crane. And so the crane would swing out over the side of the ship, and there's an attach point in the center of the Kingfisher.
Right.
And your crewman would stand up, attach it, and then they would crane the plane back on board.
Now the crewman, the Kingfisher would have two crewmen.
It had two
So
crew.
the pilot is keeping everything steady. The crewman, the backseater, is the one attaching the plane to the crane.
Correct.
Okay. And when you said making a turn, did the battleship cross its own wake to kind of seal off that area to calm the wave action?
With the veterans I've talked to just told me that the ship would make a big wide turn. They never told me it crossed its own wake.
Crossing its own wake. Okay. So you can imagine, folks, a Fletcher having a much smaller wake, having to make that turn and then pick up with a crane. And our crane was not anywhere near this huge. And I'm not saying kids, but Halford, Pringles, and Stevens crane was not centerline on the fantail. It was actually over on the port side where our quad 40s are now. And they had a winch. And is your winch still here? The winch for the crane?
Yes,
Okay.
we still have all our machinery.
All the machinery. So they took the catapults, but they left the crane and the winch.
Right.
Interesting. Navy thought process. Who knows? But yeah, for the Fletchers, the crane was over on port side, and it disassembled. It retracted and laid down flat. It didn't stay up like this. Does this collapse down?
It does actually, and if you see, there are two prongs right there about the middle.
Okay.
And when this lays down, they land right on those two pads.
Interesting. Okay.
So
and out of the way.
Out of the way.
Okay, so out of the way of the 20 millimeters that you see there, out of the way of the
16-inch
guns, very important, and out of the way of the 40 millimeters behind the 16-inch.
Yes. Funny enough, USS South Dakota, which is the lead ship in our class, when firing over her shoulder, actually caught her Kingfishers on fire at the Battle of Iron Bottom Sound.
Wow.
And then the second shot, the concussion put her out and knocked the plane off the side of the ship.
Whoops. Hopefully there was nobody in it.
No.
And folks, the Kingfishers were used for scouting. They'd go out for observing bombardments. Nothing to protect the ship. They're defensive only. This is just something to be used for scouting. And since the Fletchers, the destroyers, are part of the escort for the larger capital ships, the idea behind converting some of these Fletchers to carry aircraft like this was they're far enough out in advance of the main force, they can go a little bit further, and then their plane can go even further and scout farther out. But a narrow destroyer is just such an unstable, it takes so many rolls compared to something as wide as Bama. What is Bama's beam?
She's 108 feet and I believe 11 inches.
108 feet and 11 inches versus 39 feet at the widest for a Fletcher-class destroyer. Just amazing. And you were telling me that there's something special about Bama and this catapult. This is very rare?
This is rare. This is, as I understand it, I believe this might be the only catapult attached to a ship from World War II at least.
In the museum fleet.
In the museum fleet.
Wow. The North Carolina doesn't have one, Massachusetts doesn't have one, and we know for certain none of the Iowas have them because they got modernized.
Right.
Right. Texas?
No,
not even Texas.
Not even
Okay.
Texas.
Wow. That's awesome. I'm jealous. I don't want to refit KIDD with a catapult, but that's kind of cool. Well, you have something in the aircraft hangar that goes along with this, don't you?
Well, having one toy is not fun. You got to have the match set.
Right.
So we have an O2 US Kingfisher in the pavilion.
And can we get into the pavilion to see it?
I might know a guy.
You might know a guy?
I might know a guy who can get us in there.
Awesome. All right. Well, folks, thank you for joining us on this little detour of learning a little weird experiment with 3 of the Fletcher-class destroyers, KIDD sister ships. And stay tuned. This is airing on the KIDD's channel. We're going to take an adjournment. We're going to go ashore and tune back in just a few minutes and go to the USS Alabama's YouTube channel, and you'll see part 2 of this special airing, special topic, whatever you want to call it, the special video about Fletchers and catapults. We're going to go see a Kingfisher. Tell us a little bit about your social media and how people can donate and support the Bama.
Okay, you can donate at ussalabama.com. You can find us on YouTube at USS Alabama Battleship Memorial Park.
Okay.
That is our YouTube channel name. We're there. We have several videos with our crewmen, their oral histories from over the years. And you can always find new events taking place on our Facebook page, which is also USS Alabama Battleship Memorial Park.
Awesome. And of course, you're here on the USS KIDD's YouTube channel, so you know how to find us. But don't forget, check out our Dry Dock 2024-2025 videos and hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Pass this on to people that you think might be interested in it and enjoy it. And you can go to usskidd.com and press that donate button. Thanks for watching, Matt. Thanks for having us on board, and let's go see a Kingfisher. All right, awesome. See ya.